So a couple of years ago, I made a video about corrupt politicians that make promises to citizens just to get their vote, and then when they get in office, they reveal that they're liars and renege on everything they promised, right? It was in that video I spoke about this dumb whore by the name of Pugh. She was the mayor of Baltimore, Maryland. And she's a slut cunt who, when she wanted people to vote for her, lied about signing a bill that would raise the minimum wage. And then when she became mayor, she rejected and turned down the same fucking bill. Well, I'm glad to report that this greedy cum guzzler is now going to prison. And she'll be forced to also pay hundreds of thousands of dollars in restitution. Why is she going to jail? Well, Katie the cunt decided that she was going to defraud businesses by selling them copies of books that she knew she would never deliver. Really, what she was doing with these books is it was this scheme where she was getting paid. She was receiving bribes from companies like Kaiser Permanente and other businesses, and these businesses would give her bribes, and she would lie and call the bribes payment for the books she knew she wasn't going to be sending them. And because the companies bribing her greedy, corrupt ass didn't want any stupid books, they just wanted things from her, they would give her the money. And she would collect on these things. So they were actually just paying her so that she would do favors for them. So she basically collected money from these businesses in exchange for doing whatever they asked. You know, like a whore. And what kind of favors do you think they may have wanted? Well, maybe they wanted to make sure she didn't raise the minimum wage in her city. This way, these businesses can continue to save millions upon millions of dollars because they would be able to pay their employees slave wages. So instead of helping the citizens of the city that put her dumb ass in office, Katie the cunt collected her salary, which comes from the taxes paid by the citizens who put her in office. And on top of that salary, she also collected illegal bribes from outside companies. After taking money from the taxpayers to do a job that included helping them, she worked against the taxpayers to make sure that they stayed poor. Oh, and she's also being charged with tax evasion, so this stupid greedy cunt doesn't even want to pay her own fucking taxes. Her citizens making enough money to live isn't something she agrees with, but when it comes to her own finances, well then Katie the cunt will do all kinds of illegal things to make sure that she's making money. And she's not alone in this. Other politicians within Maryland do the same things. Former governor of Maryland, Bob, what was this guy's name? Bob Ehrlich. And this has a face, it looks like a sex offender, doesn't he? This guy rejected and turned down a bill that would force Walmart and other big companies to help their employees with their health care. So instead of working for the citizens who put him in office and who pay his fucking salary, he decided to go and work for big businesses against his own citizens while he was in office. I wonder why. Then you got, I never remember these people's names. Hold on, let me look it up. He's the current governor of Maryland, Larry Hogan. And he got a head that looks like a cassava melon. So this cassava melon-headed looking guy worked to help farmers who were dumping poison into the water supply in Maryland by trying to delay bans on the poison they were dumping. And then look at that. In 2018, he received a huge bribe from farmers. And of course, this cassava melon head also vetoed a bill to raise the minimum wage. It's like these people you vote to put them in power so that they can help you. Then you pay taxes to them, and then they do everything in their power to fuck you over. So this piece of garbage tried to veto a minimum wage bill. I think he actually did, but the General Assembly in that state actually overrode it. So it looks like Maryland should be getting that minimum wage hike. So it looks like, I think it's going up to $15. So yeah, they should be getting that hike to their minimum wage. But look at all the hurdles the citizens had to jump through and how much time was wasted. And it's all thanks to crappy politicians and, of course, the wealthy men and women who run these big businesses that we help support. Now, let's use this one example. Earlier, I talked about Kaiser Permanente giving bribes to Katie the cunt, right? So Kaiser Permanente actually has some huge expansion plans in Baltimore. They plan on building lots of new revenue generating facilities there, and of course they're going to have to fill those new facilities with new employees. Those new employees have to be paid. If Catherine Pugh was successful, the minimum wage would have stayed at around $10 an hour in her city, and that would save Kaiser a lot of money. And coincidentally, Kaiser bribed the politician, Catherine Pugh, who worked to keep the minimum wage low for them. A minimum wage that would be financially beneficial for Kaiser Permanente. How convenient is that? Despite the fact that denying her citizens a livable wage of $15 would probably lead to all kinds of turmoil within her own city, Katie the cunt denied them a wage that everyone knows is needed, and then accepted payment from a company who would have benefited from her veto. That's how it works. We as citizens take all of our money, we pump it into big businesses, make those business owners rich, and then those business owners use our money to bribe our politicians and to influence the laws and policies that affect and control our lives. So if you pay attention and look at a lot of the bad things that are happening in your life or happening in your community or neighborhood, you can probably trace it all back to rich big business owners who use the money that you give them to control our government and our lives. Wages too low? Look to big business owners. Harmful pharmaceutical drugs being sold to your children? Look to big business owners. And these big businesses, they have the money that they have to influence our government because we shop in their stores and purchase their products. Basically, you're financing your own genocide. Anything bad happening to you, it's happening because you're financing it. If not for your money, they wouldn't have the power that they wield. If you want any real change, you need to affect the people who are currently in control of the government. You don't have to go out and you don't have to protest. You don't have to beg and ask people to do things for you. You just pull your money. Stop giving money to the people that are actually paying our politicians. And you have to affect those people by taking away their power, and their power is their money, your money. So you got to stop shopping. I've made these videos in the past, but I've revamped my channel so that people can't see my face, so I can say a lot of derogatory things and not get in trouble for it. And so I'm having to start my Stop Shopping series all over again. But basically, this is going to be volume 1. You got to stop shopping. I don't know why it's so difficult for people to understand. Going out and voting, I mean, voting, marching, protesting, and all that stuff, that has gotten change, but it's very little change, and it happens very, very rarely. It happens so rarely that it's practically irrelevant. Voting and doing all that stuff is practically irrelevant. You vote for people like Catherine Pugh, and you see what she does. She's getting bribed to keep people poor. She's getting bribed to destroy people's lives. She's destroying. You vote, you put her in office, then you pay your taxes faithfully. The taxes go to her salary, and then she's working behind your back to destroy your life. And this bitch don't even want to fucking pay taxes. So she's taking your money. She got your vote. Your vote helped her put her in a position where she can become really rich. And she gets your vote, then she takes all your tax dollars in the form of her salary, and she still doesn't want to help you. And on top of that, she's getting paid a lot more money from other people to make sure that she doesn't help you. So voting doesn't work. Going out in the street and protesting, that doesn't work if the politicians you're protesting to or asking for help are the ones being bribed. They're being paid not to help you. They're being paid to destroy your life. They're being paid to allow companies to dump poison into the drinking water of your children. They're being paid so that they can allow and make drugs, pharmaceutical drugs, like these opioids that are all out there, make them legal and allow those to be sold and allow doctors to push that onto your sick children. They pay for all that. They get paid for all that stuff. They get paid to allow cigarettes to be sold and marketed to children. They get paid to be allowed to sell sugar and market that stuff to children. They're getting paid for all of that stuff. So you going out there asking them for change, saying, hey, can you make sure that horrible guns aren't being sold? Marching and begging them and showing them signs and showing them pictures of your dead children, that doesn't mean anything to them. Their job is to follow the orders of the people that pay them. So if the gun company says, well, we make a lot of money off of these guns, you have a lot of stupid hillbillies that like buying guns, and we want to keep selling them, we'll pay you to keep your mouth shut and to not fight us on this. The politicians are going to take the money and they're going to keep their mouth shut. So if you want any real change, you have to stop shopping, because the only reason that these companies have the money to pay the politicians is because people like you and I go to the store on the weekend and we give them the money. They don't create money out of thin air. We're giving it to them. They're taking our money and they're using it to make themselves richer by destroying the rest of our lives, destroying our world. Gas companies, I mean, at this point, everybody knows that fossil fuels shouldn't be used anymore, that we should not be using those. We had an electric car in the fucking 90s, but the government was paid to make sure that that car went away. So we have electric cars now. We need all cars to be electric, but they're being paid to say, well, I think that climate change is a hoax. They know it's not a hoax. The scientists that are lying and saying it's a hoax, they're being paid, and they're being paid because these companies have money that we give them. So if you have any issues that you're dealing with and you feel you need some change, what you need to do is keep your own change in your pocket and stop giving it to them. Stop shopping and stop buying things. If something bad is happening in your neighborhood or your city or your state, find out the company that is profiting from it and convince your neighbors to stop spending money with that company, and you pull your money. And if anyone doesn't want to follow along, you need to ostracize that person. But people as a whole need to recognize that the only way that you can get politicians to listen is by pulling your money from companies. Until we have a complete revamp of the government and it becomes illegal for politicians to accept bribes, which that's more than likely never going to happen, then you got to stop shopping. Either that, or when people are canvassing out for your vote and they're coming out and telling you to come out and vote for them, and they're promising that they're going to do this, promising that they're going to do that, these politicians, what you need to do is you need to, as a group, hire a lawyer, draft some sort of documentation that the politician has to sign. Politician has to sign saying that this is going to be, I'm going to make this a priority. I'm going to work on this. And if you find out that I'm not giving it my all trying to get this bill, that whatever bill you want passed, then I will leave office and I will pay you. I will owe you money. You can sue me for an exorbitant amount of money. I'll face jail time. Have them, if they don't sign a document saying it, don't fucking believe them. So that's going off on a tangent. I'm actually trying to promote this stop shopping thing. That's my main goal. If you want any real change right now while the system is the way it is, you have to stop shopping. If something is affecting you, you stop shopping. And if you know other people who won't follow along, you need to, as a group, we need to ostracize them. And we need to demonize those people until we get some actual change. Stop shopping. I'll do a volume 2 whenever I find something else out that's interesting to me. All right, goodbye.